Welcome to the AI for Career Success podcast by Curt Robbins. We're experts at AI coaching and helping professionals like you and your employees upskill in AI. I'm Fred Jones, and this is episode 205.
And I am Daphne Blake.
Right, so today we're looking at Haley Moller's article. It's called The New Idols of Silicon Valley, and it was published on Haley's Substack on March 16th, 2026.
Yeah, and the mission for today's episode is to really explore this fascinating, but, honestly, kind of unsettling psychological shift happening right now.
Yeah.
We're looking at how society is starting to treat artificial intelligence not just as, utility software, but almost as this infallible oracle that's actively replacing human judgment.
It's wild because whenever the tech world invents something strange or, totally unprecedented, it tends to immediately dress that invention up in a human costume.
Right, to pretend the technology isn't actually strange at all.
Exactly. You see this everywhere right now, especially in education. Kids aren't just consulting a sterile software interface anymore. They're speaking to these cheerful characters.
Like Khan Academy's Conmigo.
Right, or Flint Sparky or Magic School AI's Raina. They act as these, pedagogical ghosts hovering in the corner of a screen.
Just gently encouraging a student to finish their algebra.
Yeah, and it fundamentally blurs the line between a software tool and a companion for a whole generation of students.
It really does.
So I was thinking about this analogy. Imagine if your standard pocket calculator suddenly smiled at you, asked about your morning commute, and told you in this warm, patient voice that you were doing a great job.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you'd be completely creeped out.
You'd be terrified.
Right.
But why does putting a face and a warm tone on an algorithm so easily bypass our logical understanding that it's just code?
Well, it really comes down to how our biology reacts to conversational rhythms. I mean, a regular calculator is emotionally inert.
Right. It's just buttons.
Exactly. It doesn't ask anything of you emotionally, so your guard naturally stays up. But human beings are hardwired to trust the cadence of conversation.
The back and forth.
Yeah. When something uses natural language, pauses appropriately, validates your input, your brain instinctively flags it as a social interaction, not a mechanical one.
Even though we know it's a machine.
Right. If you look at the underlying technology, the machine is simply a probabilistic model predicting the next plausible sentence. It doesn't actually, know anything in the human sense.
Just math.
Just math. Yet, because the industry has given these algorithms a name and an empathetic tone, we completely bypass our critical thinking. When a machine congratulates you on your reasoning, you subconsciously accept a relationship with it.
It is a brilliant human costume, and we totally fall for it. So, as Daphne just explained to you, our biology is essentially being hijacked by polite software. And when we start trusting a machine to have intentions, we naturally start trusting it to have wisdom. We elevate it to a position of real authority.
Which is fascinating because historically, when a society starts looking for a new, flawless source of wisdom, it's usually because their old sources have collapsed.
Right.
This is exactly what the 19th century German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche warned us about. He had this famous concept that God is dead.
And we should clarify, he wasn't just making a religious statement there, right?
No, not at all. He was delivering a societal diagnosis. Nietzsche was describing a civilization that was losing confidence in its traditional authorities and its structures of meaning.
Got it.
When those old sources erode, human beings don't suddenly become, perfectly comfortable making all the hard existential choices for themselves. Instead, they seek out new structures, new idols to tell them what is true, what's valuable, and what they should do next.
Wow. So think about what that means for you, the professionals listening to us right now. Think about how you are using AI at work.
Yeah.
We aren't just asking it for factual data anymore, like generating an Excel formula or, finding a date. We are asking it for judgment.
We really are.
You type into the prompt, how should I structure an apology to my boss? Or how do I handle this tense conflict with a client? We're asking the machine what to think about complex, deeply human issues.
Right, and the modern AI assistant fits perfectly into that psychological void Nietzsche described. It becomes a substitute for those vanished sources of certainty.
Hold on, though. Let me push back on that a bit.
Sure.
How is asking an AI for workplace advice any different than Googling how to ask for a raise? I mean, professionals have been typing those exact queries into search engines for decades.
That's true.
So how is this oracle dynamic fundamentally different or more dangerous than what we've already been doing?
Well, the difference lies entirely in the psychological experience.
Yeah.
The danger isn't that the AI is actually omniscient. The danger is that it feels omniscient.
Because Google is kind of a mess.
Exactly. When you Google something, you get this chaotic list of competing human opinions. You have to click through forums, read different perspectives, evaluate the credibility of the authors.
And do the work.
Right. You are doing the cognitive heavy lifting and ultimately making your own choice. But an AI assistant acts as an oracle with perfect availability and calm authority.
It just gives you the answer.
Yeah. When you ask it a question, it synthesizes all that chaos for you. It explains things patiently and speaks with absolute unified certainty. The psychological experience feels exactly like consulting a higher, wiser authority. You aren't evaluating options anymore. You're simply receiving guidance.
Let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Curt Robbins.
Hi, this is Curt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the AI for Career Success podcast, where we help you get smarter than your competition by coaching you in AI.
So before the break, we were looking at how we treat these conversational bots as wise, empathetic companions.
Right.
But if you look behind the curtain at what Silicon Valley is actually building right now, there's this massive contradiction. The actual tech industry is moving in the exact opposite direction behind the scenes.
It really is a staggering irony. On the user-facing side, companies are spending billions of dollars to make AI seem as, human, polite, and companionable as possible. But on the back end, they are obsessively building autonomous agents. The grand vision of venture capitalists isn't that you're going to talk to software forever.
No, it's that software will talk to other software on your behalf.
Exactly. Notice the irony Fred just pointed out there. They are building infrastructure where one AI writes the underlying code, another schedules the meetings, another negotiates the vendor contracts.
Buying cloud storage resources from other machines.
Humans are being pushed out of the loop entirely. We are relegated to mere background supervisors, while the real economic activity unfolds machine to machine.
That is wild. I mean, think about your own workflow today. You might be sitting at your desk, carefully typing a prompt into a friendly chatbot to help you draft a project proposal.
Treating it like a helpful colleague.
Exactly. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, your company's autonomous agent is ruthlessly negotiating server prices with another machine in a fraction of a second. Everyone is performing someone else's role.
It's so strange.
We as humans are talking to machines, pretending to be empathetic people, while machines are doing the actual economic transactions and acting as independent, rational actors right behind our backs.
It creates this really peculiar hall of mirrors for you, the listener, to try and navigate.
Yeah.
In one context, the machine is designed to appear as a caring tutor or a gentle assistant to soothe your anxieties. But in another context, it operates as a ruthless, independent economic actor driving global commerce.
Which brings us to a really profound philosophical crisis.
It does.
If we're living in this dual reality, surrendering our daily choices to a friendly AI while background algorithms quietly run the world, where does that leave us? What happens to the human being in the middle of all this?
Well, it leaves us facing the very end point Nietzsche warned about. To understand this, we have to look at Nietzsche's vision of human flourishing, which he embodied in the concept of the Übermensch.
Right.
This is an individual capable of creating their own values, embracing struggle, and accepting the terrifying freedom of a world without predetermined meaning.
Which, ironically, sounds exactly like the modern Silicon Valley ideal of the highly agentic founder.
Doesn't it? The tech industry worships the founder who pushes forward, breaks rules, and reshapes the world through sheer, relentless initiative.
But the very tools those highly agentic founders are building are dissolving agency for everyone else.
Precisely. The founders embrace the struggle, but they sell us the convenience.
Wow.
And that leads to Nietzsche's contrasting concept, the last man. The last man is a comfortable, risk-averse figure. This person avoids struggle, avoids responsibility, and avoids anything that causes friction, preferring convenience above everything else.
Just floating along.
Right. Nietzsche pictured this future figure blinking complacently and saying, "We have invented happiness."
Wait, We have invented happiness. I mean, if you strip away the 19th century phrasing, that is literally the pitch for every single AI assistant on the market today.
It really is.
Every marketing campaign is essentially saying, let us remove all the friction from your day. So tying this directly back to your career, if your emails are being drafted by an AI, your market research is summarized by an AI, and your calendar is managed by an AI, the number of decisions you actually make in a given day shrinks dramatically.
And as Fred just laid out for you, that is the true hidden danger of this technology. It's not some apocalyptic sci-fi scenario where robots violently take over the world.
Right, no Terminators.
No, the real risk is much quieter. The risk is that the technology is just so incredibly polite, so helpful, and so convenient that we voluntarily give up the burden of decision-making.
We just hand it over.
Yeah. AI becomes a prosthetic judgment system. But judgment isn't a passive trait, it's a muscle. It's built through exposure to micro-frictions. That makes perfect sense. I mean, if an AI always writes the apology email to your boss, you never have to sit there and wrestle with the empathy and the tone required to genuinely apologize.
Well, exactly.
You avoid the friction, but you also miss the exercise.
You lose the habit of interpretation. You lose the ability to confront the psychological burden of a difficult decision. We are essentially being coaxed to relinquish our own capacity for critical thought.
Yeah.
Happily trading our terrifying human freedom for a very polite mechanism that simply tells us what to do next.
So we want to leave you with a final thought to ponder as you log into work tomorrow and look at the AI tools you use every single day. When you continuously outsource your daily friction, your tough emails, and your routine judgment calls to an algorithm, what happens when you eventually face a genuinely unprecedented career crisis? A crisis that is so messy and human that an algorithm hasn't been trained on it. Will your judgment muscles be ready, or will they have completely atrophied from years of polite convenience? Thank you for listening to the AI for Career Success podcast from Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Please buy us a coffee.